Let's try this again. If you know, you know. This is your ECW for December. Let's chat. What's up, WWE Champions Universe? This is Lee from Champions Chat, hitting record, not stream. And this is your entire contest walkthrough, ECW, for the WWE Champions December event, which is apparently called Deck the Ring. And yes, you can see some people right here that are maybe new versions of some people we already have in the game, but it looks like some exciting ones that we're going to talk about. But this is not just a blog read. The blog's fairly short. This is also an interpretation, understanding, and some theory crafting about what's coming up. But there's a lot in this one, so make sure you stay tuned till the end because there's a lot going on here. All right, so State of the Ring. First of all, we're going to wrap up the year in style, champions. We're rolling out some major updates to this month's contest designed to make your experience smoother, faster, and way more rewarding. We're simplifying the in-game and streamlining rewards. That's going to be big in a minute. No more hunting all over the place. Most event items now come from one source, making it easier than ever to track your progress and earn those goodies. So don't worry, you're not losing out on rewards. In fact, you'll get more. So I have been privy to some behind-the-scenes chatter about what's happening in this MLC, and all I can say, like that I'm allowed to say, I think, with it is they are very, very focused on making sure that the MLC structure is what they said, more streamlined, but they've made it clear that they are very focused on just getting the rewards right and may even adjust things as they go. So keep in mind, if things look a little bit weird, this is a big change. This is probably the biggest MLC change we've had since they did, remember the old structure where you used to, go towards the S tier character and you'd get the S tier character from maxing the MLC, which is kind of similar to how we do it now, but it's definitely not the same thing. Anyway, you're going to get more of this as we go, right? But just know this is a huge series of changes that is definitely going to be different. But if it doesn't look like things are going the right way the first part of the month, hang on. They've said they're going to be paying heavy attention to that this month. All right, so don't worry, you're not losing out on rewards. In fact, you're getting more. Think more coins, more TP, more tokens, more prize ball medallions, more keys, and more. More. Every loot now comes with milestone rewards. So hear that. Every loot. That means keys. That means Armory. That means your month-long loot. Every loot now comes with milestone rewards. That's going to play into things, so pay attention to it, giving you guaranteed progress and a more satisfying experience. Number 2, this month's roadmap. As you can see already on screen right there, this month is all about clean wins and bigger payouts. We've tightened the flow, boosted the rewards, and lined up events that keep you moving forward. Step in and see what's coming your way. So we do have Bronson Reed, the Tribal Thief. We've got Sexual Chocolate Mark Henry, which is hilarious. And Judgment Day Roxanne Perez. So looks like Tribal Thief is going to be a striker. Sexual Chocolate and what do we call it here? Showboat, and then a technician, Judgment Day. So I was thinking, I don't know if this is accurate, but you'll see in a minute why I think it's this way. I think this is your B tier, free tier, your A tier, and your S tier right here, which, if so, not bad, because, well, tech males is loaded. Tech females, they're all right. Like Charlotte, is definitely probably a lot of people's go-to at this point, but we could definitely use at least a few more good, solid tech females to go along with the many tech males we've got that are great. So, new superstar debut, Bronson Reed, Tribal Thief. We already read all those. Shard distribution. So, Mark Henry is going to be free. Extra shards premium available. Roxanne, I think, is going to be your, well, it says 3,000. I think she's your S tier, but we'll see. Shards available in the monthly bag. Extra premium shards are available. And then revamp alert right here. Do you see it? Mankind Mr. Sacco is going to be your revamp, which is hilarious because yeah, in the voting thing that they've done before, one of the ones was like, please fix Mr. Sacco, and it was like a joke, and then now, hey, maybe it actually is. But it's good because Mick Foley is one of those characters who should always have a relevant character in this game, and right now, there's a lot of Mick Foleys, and the Hall of Fame one is okay. Mutant can be good if you have some things, but really that's kind of about it. Am I missing any? I don't think so. Anyway, special events to watch out for: the 12 Days of Christmas, which starts on my birthday and ends on my Christmas day. Then weekly events. Weekend events. Weekend 1 is a showdown. Weekend 2 is a faction feud. And keep in mind, they have said all faction feuds going forward until further notice are 1v1. 3 is a showdown again. So we get showdown, feud, faction boss, which is why I continue to think Titan Takeover really should have been a weekend mode, because then we could at least have some variety when it comes to 5-week months, but even really 4-week months. You're always at least going to get 2 feuds, but 2 showdown weekends, especially like showdown feud, and then boss. Like, it'd be nicer if it was like showdown feud, Titan Takeover feud, and boss. That way it had some variety, but that's just me thinking out loud. All right, the Devs Corner. December is all about one thing: making your grind smoother, your rewards bigger, and your path clearer. Midweek contests made simple. Every contest now kicks off on Monday and lasts until Friday. So notice that every contest is now a week-long contest within the MLC. The month-long contest is getting a severe revamp on this. So each milestone now has at least one clear reward. Coins and teepees are going to be moved to league bags with guaranteed drops and bigger overall rewards. The old premium prize wall is gone, so pay attention to that. It used to be, and this is something that they've kind of clarified, and I'm pretty sure I can say it because you're going to see it here pretty soon anyway when it goes live. But anyway, the premium prize wall, so the thing you get those gold ingots for, where you have to choose between, an old superstar, a really old superstar, and a somewhat not so old superstar, and then you have a plate that's going to be there, and then some chest, and then there's the ingots that give you shards of this person, shards of that person. All of that is moved. It's not gone. It's moved. Now, all of that is in the briefcase loot milestones. So instead of choosing between those things, like getting 1 or 2 of them, you're actually supposed to be able to get all of them if you max the briefcase loot milestones. Again, as I said, but pay attention to this. If it looks dreary at the beginning, or if things don't add up numbers-wise, drop that comment in the Discord, because yes, they are paying attention to this and are going to kind of let people help reshape things if they're not where they're supposed to be, basically. Prize wall medallions have been boosted, so there is prize wall. It's just not the premium prize wall, as in the gold ingot prize wall. There is a normal month-long prize wall, and they've been boosted, so you're going to be able to earn more across even lower leagues. That's huge. And then collect Bronson Reed Evo tokens, which does guarantee mean he is the B tier free tier. And talent him up, which now gives you 2 times the points for talenting up Bronson Reed. So over the course of the month, you get a lot more points for taking him up, and it also incentivizes those early bird packs where you can get the 4 or 5 star pretty early on. And then it does say, notice this, a few contests have been removed. There is no longer an Armory contest. Its rewards have now been moved to Armory loot milestones, which is fine. It's basically like you're used to getting, and now you used to get rewards on the Armory contest for collecting and spending Armory loot, right? So you're still used to this mechanic. It's just when you spend the Armory loot, it goes into the loot milestones, which you've already seen the last few weeks in the paid loot. Weekly faction competition have been redistributed into the solo progress for free, so there's not a weekly faction competition anymore, which I have thoughts about. I'm going to have to see how this plays out, but with the change from 2v2 feud to 1v1, and then now the weekly faction competition going away, it seems less and less like your faction matters. I mean, it does for sure. Don't get me wrong, but the elements of the faction that you see in game, where you work together and strive toward things, are now primarily moving to Titan Takeover, which is also changing in this. It's going to say Feud Prep Talent Up is gone. What? Feud Prep Talent Up is being removed, which we have been so used to that being a primary source of all sorts of things, but now it's merged into the midweek contest. So I don't think the Talent Up itself is gone. I think just that specific milestone is now a part of the midweek contest. So like they said, they're trying to clean up and clarify things down to a more simple set of objectives. Like if you go into any contest, you click on it and you've got your main objectives, and then you hit your second tab over and you got all these additional objectives, and then you hit the third tab over and you got all the superstars that are tied up to those objectives. Like they're trying to get it down to a much more cohesive package for you. So in theory, I like that a lot. But again, if December's a little weird and wonky, they have promised they're watching this month so that the next few months are going to be even better. And then tours are getting smarter. We renewed the events page. So the Bronson Reed Tribal Thief Tour has been moved to the Victory Tour section, which is interesting. I mean, it's basically a victory tour anyway, so why have it as a separate thing? I'm fine with that, and it gets the same reward. So it's literally just under a different tab. Revamped Tour and Recap Tour have been removed. So the Revamp Tour, which is in this case McFoley, Sacco, and the Recap Tour, which is their, if you got these certain characters from the previous months, then you get special rewards. Like, I liked those. But they're gone. But their rewards have been moved to the contest and tours for free. So it does seem on the surface like they're de-paywalling some of the lesser contests. Some of the things that, like, if you went into the recap tours, for example, you always had the B tier free tier, you probably had the A tier, you likely had the S tier, and then if you got the other S or S plus tiers, you got bonus rewards. But you could do it with anybody. Now all of that's focused into the existing tours, the week-long contest as each one is going to be. And then the Deck the Ring Tour, which is the name of the MLC, now focuses on rewarding coins, TP tokens, and keys. And keep in mind, keys are how you get key milestones. So you use the weekly contests and you earn double the rewards. So that's cool. Also, there is now a new weekly stipulation tour. So if you remember, I've said this a number of times, but every time they've done a poll of like, what is your favorite mode in the game, and they've given you feud, boss battle, blah blah blah, showdown, it always comes back tours. Tours are the number one thing people want more of in this game. And so there's going to be a new weekly stipulation tour, and that is where you're going to get your A tier shards primarily. They have looked at some of the things like, okay, well, if you fudge up a stipulation tour because maybe you had autoplay going, or maybe you just forgot that you had a character. This is what I do. You forgot which character could do the best on those things. Yeah, and then you really mess it up. That they've said there's going to be more than enough that if you screw a few up, you're still going to be okay. But that is where you're primarily going to get your A tier shards for, I think Mark Henry, I believe, is the A tier on this one. And either way, I hope so, because it would be like the third month in a row we've had a showboat, which is great. I love showboats, but S tier showboats, I've got some. So let's go back to text, especially females. And then shards are easier to track. So Mark Henry shard, there's 2,000 shards you need to unlock him, which again is pretty much locking in that he's the A tier character. Most of your free ones come from the weekly stipulation tour, so there you are. He's the A tier character. And here's the breakdown. There are 2,290 free on a 2K unlock. So you can miss almost 300 shards and you'll still be okay to get him for playing the game. Stipulation tour, daily web claims, kickoff tours, weekend events, and then they also are saying there's going to be daily extras from the free prize wall or free claim bags. So if you notice, this does not equal what they've said right here, but they've given a kind of a minimum amount. If you claim the daily free bags, the minimum you would get of him every day is kind of included in that thinking right there. So you do have to do kind of a little bit of everything to walk away with the character for free. That doesn't really change anything. It's just where you're getting them from that alters a little bit. Roxanne, your S tier character, we pushed more of these into the midweek showdown. Breakdown as follows: 3,000 total free. So the weekly showdown is going to give you 2,500 of them. So the weekly showdown, which is again, why I don't understand why Titan Takeover isn't a weekend mode, because Showdown is now weekly, Titan Takeover is now daily, blah, blah, blah. So it's good they're streamlining things, because so much of Showdowns. 2,500 come from that, and then weekend events are going to give you 500. So basically 100 a week, because this is a 5-week MLC, plus any extras you would get from the daily free bag claims, because that's not guaranteed. The A tier is usually pretty guaranteed. The S tier is a very random occurrence, right? Loot is also getting fairer and more rewarding, which is like, really? That would be great if that's the case, right? Every month-long loot now has milestones, so you're guaranteed progress as you pull. That's the month-long loot. Also has your loot milestones. So it is a bigger deal now if out of the daily free claim bags you get a mega pull or a 7 or 11 hit out of it, because that is actually going to count towards the loot milestones, which is a good thing for you. Then Deck the Ring loot, which is that one. The weekly contest superstar shards are going to be in there. The elite loot, debut contest superstars, and weekly contest superstars are going to be in there. And then the armory loot. So here's another big change. I don't know how it's going to go down with people, but we're going to have to see how it is in game first. So on the armory loot, the old armory rewards plus the armory prize wall medallions are all in one loot. So there's not a loot or a prize wall. It's both. So you're going to see how that works out. But basically, all 3 armory loots are combined into one with one set of milestones, which, think about how this would have worked otherwise, right? They added loot milestones to the armory loot. So if you were pulling on one of the 3 and each one had their own loot milestones, that means you have to go all in on one in order to get all of it, right? So they combine the loot into one, and then that way the loot milestones all sync up. I like that. That makes sense. What I'm more hesitant about, I have not pulled on any armory loot aside from gear for a very long time. At least not consistently. Every once in a while, I'll throw a small pull here and there to one of the others. But I personally don't need much of anything from either of the other 2 ones. The gear is the important one for me. That is by far the most important one to me. So if it's all spread into one, it does dilute things. However, that being said, let's just be honest. 95% of the pulls you do in those anyway is the most common things available. So it's not like if I get another gear of NWO Hogan or, whichever one, like, one of the Hall of Fame Kevin Nash gears or something like that, like, I'm gonna miss those. So even though it's all in one, yes, I'm not super thrilled about that because I don't want some of the things that are in the others. And I liked having the ability to go all in on what I was wanting to go for, but 95% of those were things that I didn't need anyway, or that we've gotten 100 of. So I don't think that's a terrible thing, right? I'll get over it, I guess. I don't like it, I'll get over it quick. And then the briefcase loot has all of the old premium prize wall rewards, and as far as I think I've read with this and understand it, that does mean that instead of choosing 2 or 3 of those things, because you'd have 4 coins, right? You now get all of them if you max the briefcase loot. The idea is that it should be equal or greater to what you would normally get for where you were in the old progression system. So if you didn't max it before, you might not max it now, but you will get an amount of rewards that would be equal to or greater than what you would have gotten in the old system. So keep track of that. That's going to be something we're all going to have to figure out as we go. Also, Perks update, universal turnbuckles have been removed. So that also means MLC points are going to have to be shifted, but that is a big deal. Universal turnbuckles are one of the greatest gatekeepers in this game. Like, I have a pretty big roster. I've spent way more on this game lately than I ever planned to. Let's just be honest, right? And I still don't have enough universal turnbuckles at the end of this MLC to max out certain things, like the feuds each time and different things like that. I often end up short of the last milestone, which means that a lot of people have been gatekept by that. So having the universal turnbuckles removed is a good thing in that regard if they do it right. Also, then you get 6 tour turnbuckles that will max out your tour perk, and you get to claim all 6 for free in the Deck the Ring contest milestones. So this is the Deck the Ring contest, which it does say get more from the Jumpstart pack and the prize wall if you want to max out early. So keep in mind those 6 tour turnbuckles are spaced out. They're not all instant. So that might be a change for some people to reconcile with, but you do get them all. Also, there is a new perk, weekly 99 MP stipulation tour perk. So instead of having 99 MP just willy-nilly in places, it's very specifically going to be on the stipulation tour, which covers Gemmania, hype tours, all of that kind of stuff. But it's exclusive to the Backstage Pass. So that is a $10 per week purchase if you want to have that. So, you know, it gives and it takes away there. And then here's the event item source overview. So your Roxanne shards come from the midweek showdown. Your Mark Henry shards come from the midweek stipulation tours. Bronson Reed come from the midweek showdown. They keep saying midweek, but they said all events are now week long. So I think that midweek, I don't know, maybe it is Wednesday, Thursday every week, but hopefully it's spread out. I don't know, maybe it won't be, who knows. Then also the prize wall medallions are going to come from the Deck the Ring contest milestones. Your keys are going to come from the Deck the Ring tour. Your Armory loot coins coming from the midweek contest, your victory tours, and the champions tour. The Armory medallions come from the Armory milestones. So there is going to be an Armory prize wall still that will have medallions. So they're a separate thing. That's why I said it's not one or the other, it's both. So you're going to be using your Armory loot coins for the Armory loot, which is then going to give you Armory prize loot. I don't know. I'm getting lost in the inception here. It's a thing within a thing, right? But you get where I'm going with this, right? You spend the Armory loot coins, you do the milestones on the loot. That's going to give you Armory medallions, which then you're going to go spend on the Armory medallion prize wall. So it is, there's stuff. There's a lot of stuff, right? And then your tour turnbuckles come from the Deck the Ring, also the prize wall and jumpstart packs, and then the 99 MP stipulation turnbuckle from the Backstage Pass. So that was a lot. Holy crap. Locker room. All right, champs, so real talk. We've seen your comments, your posts, your frustrations, and your hype, and we took all of that straight into the dev locker room. You told us what felt messy, what felt good, and what needed to go. So we cleaned things up, boosted the rewards, and made the flow easier to follow. Less confusion, more winning. Coming soon, also, December's rolling in hot, and the weekend wars are only getting wilder. I don't know what that means. Expect big fights, fresh formats, and non-stop action all month long. I can say I do know there's some things coming that they've just been whispering about behind the scenes. So if that's coming in December, it's gonna be big, right? And starting on 12/13. December 13th. 12 Days of Christmas drops with daily surprises, bonus rewards, and holiday havoc you won't want to miss. Highly likely that that's where the sweater gear and stuff like that's going to come in. And I would guess, I'm calling it now, this is not based on anything behind the scenes. It's based on a comment Gerson publicly made on one of our streams while we were doing the podcast. I think Aleister Black's going to get something. Not any inside information, just clarify. I'm just guessing. I think Showboat Aleister Black is going to get better, and I'm hoping so because I don't like him. I love Aleister Black, though. Stay sharp. December doesn't slow down. And then number 6, engage and win. Champions, we dropped a massive refresh to close out the year, and now we want to hear from you. Which part of the new December MLC made you guys go, finally? That's hilarious. Like, I love the self-reference in there of just like, yeah, we owned ourselves. Let's just do it, right? Was it the guaranteed loot milestones, the bigger coin and TP payouts, or the fact that you don't have to chase event items all over the place anymore? So let me, wrap up. That's December, champs. A cleaner month. Yeah, it's just a repeat. Okay. So I've mentioned before, one of the other games I haven't played now in about a year and a half or more, but I played since the alpha was Destiny. It's now popular to hate on Destiny, but man, it was popular to play Destiny. And every time Destiny came out with a new, like, let's call it MLC, they call it seasons in there. Every time they came out with a new season, there was new loot rewards, there was new ways to get loot, there was new currency, like so much currency, and it just got so confusing as to which vendor you went to get what thing and all that. And if you played the game, like, yeah, you knew where to go. You were a daily player. You didn't get lost. You're like, okay, Xur's over here, so I got to get Xur on Thursdays, and then I got to go over here, and I got to do this there, and then I got to go to the armor smith for this, but then I've got to go over to Zavala for this, and blah blah blah. Right? You knew that because you played the game. But if somebody hopped into the game new and they were like, hey, I just want to equip this gun, where do I go? And you're like, oh, don't worry about it. Well, first you need gunsmith currency, and you're going to upgrade that. But then you need to have this like currency that only comes from a special vendor that only shows up once a week. And if you don't get it that once a week, you can't do this. But if you do this, like, do you see how they just start to go, oh, my brain's broken, right? So anything they're doing like this to clean up and synchronize all the various things that have just gotten a little out of hand each time they add some modes, I think that's a good thing. But I do think, and I do know, that there's going to be some growing pains this month. Some things aren't going to work the way that you want them to. Some of the changes are going to take some time to get used to. And the most ironic thing about this community, and it really isn't just the Destiny community. No, it's them too. Not just the WWE Champions community. I trust me, from my other walks of life, I know it's every community. The one thing people say they want is change, and the one thing people get angry about every time is change. Right? Anything changes, and we're like, how dare they change anything, right? The only change that people like is the change that they initiated. That is a truth of the human experience, and you didn't initiate some of this change, so you're not going to like all of it. But give it time, because once the newness is worn off, once the furs come down a little bit, so to speak, usually we're like, oh yeah, that was probably the right thing. That was better. And when it's not, we just tell them, and eventually they get them the note and fix it, right? So that's kind of what this is about. So character-wise, I'm super excited for all 3. I love the Tribal Thief gimmick. I'm glad we're getting a new Mark Henry in the game. And Roxanne, again, I think S-tier technician female is absolutely a good call. There's less of those than there are definitely in the men, for sure, at least. So I'm excited about all of this. I think it's going to be a good month. It is a 5-week, so keep that in mind. They did also release a dev blog that shows how to get to certain things. Let me just pull it real quick here. There it is. Can I drop it on the screen? I can. Look at that. Sweet. So let me add me back to the screen. There I am. Okay. So this is the other thing that you'll want to see on there. This was on the official Discord. It just kind of goes over what the CSS requirements are and all the things that you need to know that way, and does kind of verify who is who, even though we do know for sure it's Tribal Thief, and then Sexual Chocolate, and then Roxanne. So for Mark Henry, you can see right there his shard distribution for Roxanne. The MLC goes from December 9, which is this Tuesday, to January 13th. So it is into the middle of January, which is strange, but that does mean deck throwing is going to cross a lot of holidays, right? I mean, all the holidays, including your Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, and definitely New Year's in the mix of that as well. So there's going to be a lot of special events, a lot of special loots, I would assume, right there. CSS for week 1 is Hall of Fame Michelle McCool, Rey Mysterio, Dominic, Seth, and AJ Lee. So basically all of this month's characters. Week 2, Rizar, the Final Testament, which is interesting. Smash Demolition, Xavier Woods, and Kofi, both the New Day's World versions. Axe Demolition on that one, so that kind of goes back a couple MLCs ago. Week 3, Giovanni Vinci, the Equalizer, Becky Lynch, Back in Business Bex, Gulia My Julia, Beautiful Madness, Haku, Ray Phoenix, and that's kind of all in week 3. Week 4, Io Sky, Damage Control, Penta Era, Grande Americano, Io Sky, Genius of the Sky, and Stephanie Vacour on week 4. Week 5, Tatanka, which is awesome. I would love it if he got a rework at this point. Revenge Tour Live, Michelle McCool, the non-Hall of Fame statue, Drew Chosen, and JBL Hall of Fame. And then they just reiterated Showdown Faction, Faction Boss, or Showdown Feud, I should say. Then the solo contest points allocation is at the very bottom right there. So Titan Takeover is important. Your 12 Days of Christmas event's going to be important. Your MLC shards, your Bronson Reed talent up, your Evo tokens, and your faction kickoff is kind of where all of that's going to be, in addition to the weekly points. So that's it right there. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you like this MLC change? This is a massive change, and they know it. So they know you're going to be like, oh, I think this is good or bad, or what. Like, you're going to have thoughts on this. They know that for sure. So yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments section of it. Are you nervous? Are you excited? And of these 3 right here, which one is the one you're most excited to see in game? For me, got to be Mark Henry, especially if they do something like a plate that is Mae Young's hand. I'm just saying. Anyway, that's it for this one. I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. Share this with your friend or faction mate, because they're going to find something interesting in it, I hope, as well. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.